It is good to have the chance. Dude, I don't. Okay, so last time I saw you had to have been like May 2016, right?
2015. I didn't see you since you left for graduation. Oh wait, you know what? No, that's right. Me and Tristan went back
Uh,
to
yeah,
Michigan for a little bit. That's right.
that's what
That's
I'm
right.
thinking of.
I forgot.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely
Mhm.
partied a little bit, but that that was, like I think springtime 2016. You guys made a trip, and it was really really cool of you guys to come. Uh, yeah, so dude, I don't know much about what has been going on in your life for 4 years now, and I had to reach out in this way, in this format, um, because it allows for better conversation. I feel like than off camera with you. Um, so, but there are pros and cons because at the same time, talking off camera is always very special too because things can just be shared without the
Right.
pressure. One of my
Yeah.
goals this year is to be a better listener.
Forgive my Amish Wi-Fi.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little laggy,
Sorry.
unfortunately. Um, but I think this will work. I've had crappy internet with previous episodes, which I don't know how many you've watched up till now for any sort of a reference, but I just conduct kind of a very casual interview.
Hmm. Yeah, I wanted to come into this like completely just fresh, no preconceived uh notions, and like just diving in.
Absolutely, and there are friends that have done that. You, Brandon, David Gilio, you guys have all uh, come in very blind to this, which is cool. I like that a lot. And then you have friends like Tristan, who did his homework and watched every episode up until the one that he was right after. you know?
That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah. So is the job that you have now the one that you had back in 2016 when I saw you? Because I remember you having a job and sharing some details with me about it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So
Hmm.
you've kept the same job for how long now?
Oh, snap. So no, actually, it's
Oh,
a different job.
okay.
It's a different job. The job that I had when I last saw you was working for the news, the local news,
Sure.
but not even the local news, like a subdivision of a subdivision, making commercials and whatnot for vendors in the area. Now, I do kind of the same thing, but in-house. So I'm the company's videographer. I'm the company
Oh,
um, broadcaster, media specialist. Like it's just me on the media side.
wow. Cool.
Hmm.
And is this any sort of like a religious based company, or is this very open and diverse and yeah, what's the base of this company that you work for?
So it is. The owners are Christian.
Oh,
They're Seventh Day Adventists, and but the work climate is very pleasant. There's all walks of life there. I would say it's a black owned business,
sure.
and it's the first one I've worked for, and it's great to see black excellence at
Yeah.
this level,
Yeah.
and then other coworkers of the same thing. You know, it's really cool.
I've seen Snapchats or like stories, and everybody's black that you're interacting with, and I'm so happy for you that you found that environment, because I think um I didn't envy you when you went to Compass. You know, those times that we would go to even, I mean, to class, or even to a church group or something like that. I really desired for you to be in a more comfortable, where you can just um be freer with your culture that you're a part of.
Yeah,
And
I understand that.
I'm ultimately very jealous of, because I consider myself such an outsider from the black community, but holy shit, do I wish that I was a part of it. I actually do. I'm being very truthful. Um, I love the humor, the expression, and I wish I had more of it in my life, because you are somebody to me that I don't have many other. I don't think I have another black friend that I can call a legitimate black friend.
I feel the same, man.
For
I
sure.
miss you.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned having, you know, black people around you, because the way I was raised, you know, was mostly homeschooled white people
Mm.
around me. And I feel like that gave me like exposure to how the inner workings of, like, say, like Tristan, how he processes things, how he, you know, walks through things. And then um some things that you do, it's like, okay, I've seen that before, and this feels like home to me,
Yeah.
because this is what I've known, this is what I've grown up with, you know.
Yeah.
And growing up, like, have left the um I would say just from like age 16 and up, just finding that black identity that is also there with me, that I can be comfortable around other black people too. Like, it just fits naturally. The same way I feel like it fits naturally for white people, for me, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and there are pros and cons in both groups. Sometimes I feel like I'm too white for the blacks, or too black for
Sure.
the whites. But
Sure.
you know, it's like, what do I do? What do
Yeah.
I do?
Yeah.
But I never felt that way around you and Tristan. Like, I could show
For sure.
both sides and you would both accept it. And it's
Yeah.
funny because when I switched to like 100 or 200% black, you guys are like,
Yeah.
you didn't expect
Yeah.
that. You didn't expect that. Or when I speak in job interview, like, you understand that.
Yeah.
you know,
Totally.
you know.
I remember
Hmm.
being very caught off guard by you first time that I met you. You were standing, Tristan, I think, walked up to you, and I had known, he was like, "Hey, I really connected with this guy over Facebook. His name is Jalon or something like that." And I um he's a rapper, and we talked about like trying to find a place together, and or he asked me about finding a place, and then I saw the physical connection that you guys made in line on orientation day. Um,
Yeah.
and you said something to Tristan, and it was like you only moved your lips. It was like, because you're so soft spoken. That's what caught me off guard, was the fact that I had to, like, excuse me, like, I had to listen, um, and I was caught off guard by the presence that you were, as opposed to what I had seen briefly on Facebook. But
Hmm.
yeah, dude, my 1 year friendship with you, um, there are just some times that I will take forever. I really will. And even though we don't interact much over text or over social media or anything, I you're still a contact that I really don't want to lose, professionally or personally. And I'm so happy. I would be very sad if your job was not videography. Like, cool, you found like a Black community and environment in the workspace that you've really like opened up to and been accepted, and um but if it wasn't videography, I think I would be really sad uh, to see you
Really,
hopping off. Yeah, yeah,
I feel like music is calling me more so than it was back when you and I had met, you know? And it's funny because the original path I wanted to take was in music. Like if I wasn't at Compass, I would have continued with band and, gone on with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But that didn't seem like a stable job to pursue. Everyone says, that's not, you're gonna you're gonna fall if you go for that profession. And statistically, I'm like, you know what, I do need something to fall back on, but something that I'm passionate about. And that was film, and I couldn't find a single school in Ohio that taught
Yeah.
what I needed to learn to move up, And it's funny that I found Compass like 2 weeks before orientation, got accepted, was the last spot in the school,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
some of the best years of my life. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I love how quickly you found it. I think I forgot that detail that you were the last slut. Wow.
Hmm.
Um,
Which really they could have added more because of
yeah.
seats, but
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did in later years. I saw that school really pick up volume wise, and it became very uncomfortable. Something I had not taken into account was how new the bachelor's program was. I was like the second year of it at all. And
Really?
yes, yeah, dude,
Dang.
the bachelor's program was an experience. Um, I'm gonna say 70%, um, 65% awful, I think. Both because of choices I was making on my own, in self harm ways, but also
Hmm.
the deadness of the school and how gray, lifeless, colorless that became. Um, in their treatment, the higher you move up in that school, it's always the new guys that they're attached to. It's always the new kids. It's always the second born, third born, and the oldest. Yeah, yep, yep. Hmm. I got roped in.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
I wish that I would have done what Tristan did and just boop mosey on back to Oregon after that 1 year, because that was the plan up until a couple days after I graduated. And then my my parents, and this is not any sort of a blame, but I think that Austin Morse and Carrie, can't even remember her last name. Not even gonna try. Not even gonna try to remember. she, uh, she taloned my parents in one meeting, and then my parents sat down and talked to me, and I thought it was a great idea. But I stayed for my friends. I think I stayed 100% for my social life that I had acquired over that 1 year, and I loved it, and I didn't want to leave. And there wasn't even a second thought of what the bachelor's program was going to be like. That's something that I've been sitting here struggling with. Been a cook for the last 2 years, just like 100K in debt, trying to find something that you know is this film thing still just a hobby? Like, did I
Yeah.
spend a
Um,
$100,000 on a hobby that?
oh man, what you're going through right now, I can't say that I know like the fullness of it, but I've experienced a little bit because after having left Compass, I tried to reach out back for, hey, can I get like some internships? I have like a decent portfolio. Da
Yeah.
da da da. No, sorry, the internships are only for the bachelor's people. Okay, and how's that working out for them
Ah.
right now? So
Nope.
I went 2 years working at, where did I work? I worked at Giant Eagle, which is a
Mm,
grocery store. It's a local grocery store. Worked
sure.
there for a year. Then I worked. I had 4 jobs at one time and still wasn't making enough. I had that job. I was a janitor at the same time. I was working for a news station, and then I was working for another little video firm. None of it was fulfilling in the least bit. And then I like lost all of those and then started working at a plastic factory
Mm,
way out in the country, and it was awful just working midnights like the first time in my life. And I'm just thinking back, like, what was all of that for?
yeah.
What was all that money, all of that suffering? Well, I wouldn't say suffering, all of that except the Aaron Greer part. um you know all of that. um and I have nothing to show for it. And then you got people asking you like, are you gonna do something with your life? Like, are you gonna what you gonna do?
Yeah.
And then finally, actually no, after that I got another job at a factory working with my dad,
Okay.
soldering
Oh.
uh electric boards and stuff like that. And I couldn't stand that.
Oh.
So then finally I found this job, and it's been good to me ever since. But
Okay.
man, just the journey after Compass is like, oh, and you leave and oh, sorry,
Yeah.
buddy. Sorry.
Oh, dude, that's yeah. Approaching graduation from the bachelor's. This would have been May 2017. 3 years. Um, I described it to many people as I'm approaching a cliff. I have to jump. Um, and the question is, how big is my parachute? Do I have a little napkin as my parachute, or do I have something that Reed Petro kind of built for himself? Whoop whoop, and he has this whole mechanic. Frickin', you get the analogy.
Yeah.
But only now, April 2018. Okay, let me rewind. May 2017, graduate. I go into my internship, which was at Lincoln Lake Baptist Youth Camp. I was the videographer for a summer season of camp, and kids would come through and of all ages, from middle school up to end of high school, and I would do skits on stage for them, much like my life in Brazil, working at Word of Life. It was the exact same job, and exposure up on the stage doing skits to get them riled up before worship time or something like that in the mornings. So I was the hype man. As well as the videographer. So did that. Internship ended. I moved to Chicago for 2 months. That's how long it lasted.
What?
Yeah. I moved to
Dang.
Chicago.
I know that.
So this was, um, this is what happened in Chicago. I'm living with Brandon Patterson for like 3 weeks right after my internship. I'm on Craigslist and I find this job that's in Chicago, and it's for $800. It's 3 days filming horse dressage. And I know that Cameron has a place in Chicago, which he has a room open, and he's offered it to me. It's like $580 a month. I don't know why I thought I could afford it at the time. I hadn't saved anything up until that point. So I moved to Chicago. I do that film thing, and then I go, okay, I'm gonna stay in Chicago, and I'm gonna try this out. If I can find more film gigs like that 3 day $800, there were others that were like 2 days of work, $1,000. So I was applying to everything, mostly off of Craigslist and then Indeed, LinkedIn, and a lot of the jobs are like list your equipment, and I'm like, I don't have any equipment. I have a MacBook. So I get this stupid job. I was so stupid about it. I should have, instead of coming back to Michigan, which I did, I came back to Michigan, started living with Brandon. I lived with him from October 2017 to September 18. In April 18, I got a job as a cook a week after I had just sold my MacBook computer because I was so desperate for money. Yeah. And we almost got robbed, unfortunately, by a black guy in the process. I tried selling it. That's a whole story that I can tell at some point. But yeah, so we tried selling it and didn't work out. And then I ended up selling it a week after I started making money. So I should have just become a cook how many months prior to April 18? I should have done that in Chicago. I lived in an area with 14 restaurants around me within walking distance in Chicago. I could have gone to anyone and said, "Do you need your dishes washed?" And they would have been like, "Yeah." And then you're doing that, you're getting tips, whatever. Instead, I got a job making $8.50 an hour at this one play and spin stupidest job I've ever held. And they even told me I was running go-karts. I was the go-kart operator. And they even said in the interview, we can only pay you $8.50. And I mean, that was $150 a week I was making. Like, I was so, I wish that I could just go back and erase the whole mindset. And I was really in love with the girl at the time, and that was also part of my decision making to move to Chicago, was to impress. I came back to Michigan after that didn't work, and then she dropped contact with me, very harshly, I thought at the time, and that set me into 2018 in a very dark place. And that whole year, I can probably say every waking moment of that year, 2018, I was high. Just about. Maybe I missed a day or two,
Yeah.
but that's only because I couldn't find it or couldn't afford it that day. But every day, at work, it was everywhere. And then I leave Michigan as it becomes legal, like three months. Um, but
Oh man.
5 years I put into Michigan, with the exception of those 2 months in Chicago. 5 years I tried to make things work, try to make things happen. And it took coming back to Oregon and working with non-film people to get all my film projects up and running. Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that it? I found that it's so hard because I work with non-film people now, and they are more willing to accept the ideas that I have,
Yep.
and a lot of things that I have, I can run it, you know, plus a little give and take. Like they might alter a few things, but for the most part, I can get it greenlit and get it out there.
Yes.
Whereas where I worked with actual people who know the trade, they don't give you an inch. It's like, I think it's just the competitive nature of it, you know, because the market is so dry in certain pockets of the country.
Yeah.
If you're doing, the same thing that they're doing, and a lot of these people started in like the 80s or the 90s, early 2000s, where there was no social media, you have a better chance of like making a hit. And everyone's so afraid you're going to take over their thing or be a threat to them that they're not going to give you an inch, like
Right.
nothing. I don't know why that is,
It's because
but it's
everybody.
sad. I find working with non people is just way better.
True, dude. I have totally found that to be the truth because everybody's vision, um, you know, say you get you, me, Joe Miller, and Tristan in a group and we all have to make one video. That's four very different styles. Or maybe you and
Yeah,
Tristan.
that's like having Del Toro and Tarantino and Abrams in a room and say you have to make Joker. You have to make Joker, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It wouldn't. You know
No.
what I mean?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why Tarantino has a crew of people whose goal is that light stand goes right there. That bag, that sandbag, it goes on it, and I hook them up. I redo the cords, plug them in, and that is um, how it should be done. You get a crew behind you
Mm-hmm.
who follows your vision,
Yes.
and that's yeah, it's good. It's good to hear you say that, and because I'm going through the exact same thing here. With Pipe Reel Studios, with developing a documentary on the homeless, which is a little bit on pause right now. With the Salem Roundtable, which interviewing uh, we're interviewing Salem locals, businessmen, pastors, theologians, philosophers, um, uh, politicians, and so all the things that I wanted to get off the ground happened almost immediately getting back here in Oregon. And it's only been 14 months now. And I have a lot to show for it. So I'm excited for year 2. And I think that this just should have happened years prior to this, but I'm catching up because as I mentioned, I spent 2 years without a MacBook, and I just got this because of quarantine, because of the money coming in from unemployment and stimulus. I bought myself a MacBook, and I will continue to set myself up. So
That's what I'm talking about, man.
yeah,
That's awesome. I'm glad that I was worried that when you were telling me that you were in that, post Compass pit, that dump, that there was no rise out from that for you. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that things are on the up and up for you. I actually, I don't know if you heard about it. I released an album in 2018 called Valley.
Man, I haven't kept up with your stuff, but please give it to me
It's all good.
and let me plug it here because I need people to see both your visual and and digital work as your music stuff. So give it all to me, and I'll check it out myself and plug it, please.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
But that album was about that time in my life where I thought I did everything I was supposed to do, and I still can't chase my dreams. I'm still stuck, you know. And it ends on a happy note, because I was working this job, like I was coming out of that that just really dark and difficult time that I was in my life. And yeah, I feel like you might vibe with it.
Yeah,
because
totally.
you've gone through that much longer than I have, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, please send it to me. I'm excited to hear it, and it's crazy that it's been 2 years since you. Is that the latest? Is that the latest that you've released, or is there been anything?
Yep, that's the latest.
Okay.
It's the only one I've ever released on like legit platforms. It's like my debut on Spotify and on
Nice.
Amazon Music, Apple Music, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But
How
yeah,
how do you get it up there?
it's cool that I can kind of. I'm sorry.
How do you get it up there? Do you have to apply? Do you have to pay to get your content up there?
You do. You got to pay a music distribution service, and
Okay.
they have a list of vendors that they distribute your music to,
Oh.
and you get certain royalties and different things when people use it or play it. It's cool. It's pretty legit. It's just the hard thing is getting actual people to listen to you. And
Yeah.
oh, you're a rapper? I thought you were doing this, or I thought you were doing
Yeah.
that. Oh, that's just a side hustle, right? You know what I mean? But everything in its timing. You
Yeah.
know,
Definitely.
I'm not too worried about it. It'll work out.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you're younger than me, you know. No, no, no. You're older than me. You're older than me.
Yeah. Yep.
You're older than me. Oh, I've literally always thought of you as younger than me. I don't know why.
Because you're like this tall, like way taller than me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna be 26 this year.
You will be 26
It's
this year.
crazy.
October?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
26.
Oh my gosh.
I would like to enter I would like to have the latter half of my 20s be really beneficial, for my health, for my career, for my finances, for my just overall status in life. I would like to see an incline
Yeah.
for sure. So
I I would like to see the same thing. Because it's like there are so many unspoken expectations of a man in his mid 20s slash like late 20s,
yeah,
and it's like no matter how good you feel like you're doing in your career or anything like that, there's still these things that kind of just like hover over you. You know what I mean? Like the onset of a midlife crisis, but you're not even midlife yet.
yeah,
You know?
I get that. I get that. Just like an overall hopelessness, like like this quarantine and how it affected me. When I first heard about the layoffs, I felt my heart sink, and it's still down there. I still really despise the change that's happening, the new norm, as people want to call it. Um,
I hate that. Yeah.
if we don't go back to like, if we don't go back to like waiters and waitresses being maskless, I will be so upset. Um,
Yeah.
they will be. I
No,
mean,
dude, I feel the exact same. And I feel like I have a very conservative view on the matter. Um, like I feel like now we have to fight back for it, for the normal that we once knew, because there are people that want the new normal to be there, and they didn't care for the normal before, because it wasn't in their favor.
yeah,
The system wasn't in their favor. I'm not saying the system is perfect, because it's definitely not. Um, the education system, the whole job system, it's all messed up for sure. But I don't feel like that's an excuse to hope that this is the new normal. People actually want this, and that's upsetting to me. Um, and today I feel like I got a taste of the old normal, with like all the barbecuing on Memorial Day and all the
yeah,
people out in their four-wheelers and just having a good time. It
yeah,
feels like today was like a dip into normal, what was normal,
yeah.
you know?
Yes, because people want it. There are
Hmm.
just as many people, if not more, really wanting to get back to the new norm. Sorry, the old norm, and people will be dragged, kicking and screaming, um, into the new normal. Should that be just the new thing that we settle into? Um, I have to wear a mask, change out gloves after every order, wash hands. Um, we're open to the public now, so people can come into my restaurant, and if they see us break one of these rules, it's so fresh, so new that people are gonna be like hawks about it.
Hmm.
You never know what people are filming. My kitchen is wide open to whoever's sitting in the lobby or whatever you want to call it. Uh,
Yeah.
how has this affected your job? Have you had projects be canceled and postponed?
Certain things have been put on the back burner, yeah.
Mm,
But not for long, I would say. The owner of our business she's female, and she's currently pregnant. And
sure.
so there is we don't want to infect the office, but we also don't want to risk her getting infected while pregnant, while she's, a few months in.
Yeah.
And that is causing this quarantine to last longer than usual, because our state just opened the patios last week, and this week they're actually opening the
Hmm.
dine-in lobbies and
Okay.
places, and currently I'm working from home, so
Okay.
that's cool, because I wanted to work from home from the beginning so I could work on that, and then also work on what's next,
Yeah.
um, working on certain projects. And I would say at first I was a little worried, because I lost a day. Normally I work 40 hours, but I lost 8 hours in that cycle. But because of recent uh, checks and stimulus packages and whatnot, all those days that I lost, I get back
Hmm.
on this next paycheck, actually. So that's going to be nice. And then
Whoa.
I get to continue working those Fridays that I lost. So that's cool. Um, I miss my coworkers. They're a lot of fun. They're
Yeah.
really goofy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we can say the things that we say around each other and not uh, get fired or brought up to HR. It's
Yeah,
just it's a really free atmosphere. It's awesome. Um,
that's really good to hear.
yeah, man. I've been God's been really sheltering me during this time, you know. And I feel like he's taking care of all of his people during this time. Like certain people may have lost a job or something like that. Like you lost yours, but you're also getting that the funds from all sides, like you said,
Right.
and you're able to still pursue your dreams.
Yeah.
You know, all things work together. I'm thoroughly convinced of that because I thought I was never gonna make it out of those factories. I never thought I would get this job. I never thought a lot of things would happen, and he did it, and he's still doing it. You know, so I feel like this new normal. I don't want to treat it lightly, but I'm not afraid. A lot of people are just like really afraid to go back,
Right.
but I'm not. And I feel like that's how we have to be. We can't be afraid. We simply can't.
I totally agree with you. And yet, the last 2 days that I've worked, um, cooks who had previously said no to coming back in a month ago, are now being called in for real this time because we're opening back up. And they are very skittish. One of them said, no contact, please. And in the line, that is hard because we're in such close quarters with one another. The line that I cook in is this big, you know? And you gotta like
Mm-hmm.
squeeze past people. And now we're coming up with new rules about that. Like when somebody needs to walk down the line, all the cooks have to like walk off the line and then they walk down and then we walk back on and keep cooking. It's just so ridiculous.
It really is. It's like it's like something out of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
It's monumental.
it's so weird, and I feel like it's gonna get weirder,
Uh-huh. I believe that.
but it's going to get better for some.
Mm. Yeah, dude.
And that's all. Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's
feel
all I'll
like
say.
I feel like a line has been drawn in the sand. I think I've said that
Mm.
on a previous podcast before, but it's like, and maybe I'm way off. Um, but I feel like maybe God is stating, "You're with me or you aren't in this which I have begun." That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said that. Yep.
yeah,
That is it. That is 100% it, I feel. Um,
yeah.
that is, I was just thinking that, like, the lines have been drawn in more
Yes,
ways than one. Like, this is how you feel about this, is how you feel about that. Okay, no more agree to disagree, line drawn.
yeah,
Um, you're protected by this through this virus. You are getting screwed by it, line drawn.
yeah,
Um,
yes,
uh, just a lot of a lot of lines between friendships, between definitely between church and state, definitely between church and state right now. Like
right.
the church is being closed. Oh, now people are starting to see. People are starting to see. Okay, we are. Things are heating up.
Yeah,
It's getting hot up in here.
Yeah.
Get hot. Yeah.
I have the same thoughts, same feelings. Why am I getting paid the $700 kickback? I got paid that. I got $3,500 in a span of 5 days. Bop, 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 bop. All these payments that I'd like been acquired from, and I was like, whoa. So there's that case, and then there's also friends of mine who have seen not a dime from unemployment in 2 months, and
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what we're talking about. The line being drawn. You're being taken care of, or your business is shutting down for good. Unfortunately, there's that,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I don't know which side would be which, because I know that Christians are supposed to go through some tribulation before, like, leading up to the rapture. It's going to get tough for us here. Oppression from worldly um, uh, leaders, from worldly peers. Um,
Yeah.
I love to see churches still being innovative with how they're meeting, with like Easter. My parents' church met with like 50 cars in the parking lot, and the pastor doing it through like radio frequency. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
that is cool.
And then the state is still mad about that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? The state
yeah.
is like, how dare you do that? How
Yeah,
dare you? And it's like, wait a minute, you crossed this line that you drew here
yeah,
between church and state.
yeah.
So how do you don't have the right to tell us when we can and cannot. In fact, I don't think most states have the right to tell any business or congregation when they can and can't close. I don't think that's actually within their jurisdiction.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for the tribulation thing, man, that's what I said is going to get weirder because I know that they're planning things right now, like extra steps to isolate this coronavirus.
Yeah.
I heard this thing. They're working on this. It's like a vaccine.
Yes.
It's a vaccine that Bill Gates is
Yes.
engineering, but it has some type of thing that is detrimental for certain people with like a certain brain pattern, and
Oh.
that people that fit under that jurisdiction, I mean, under that umbrella,
Mhm.
are like religious people, like radically
Huh.
religious people, and so that alters that and makes it like you're calmed down, like you're pacified in a way. So
Oh.
that is like a part, like I don't know, why would you speak that into a vaccine? And then another thing is there's this tracer program, like a House bill that's being introduced. It's called HR 6666, and it's a real thing. And it's basically where dudes can come up in your house if they think that you got the coronavirus, and it's like they're trying to stop the like infection at home now, trying to stop the infection at home. And so they're like, oh, you've got coronavirus, you need to not be here. So they have the right to take you away from your family or take one of your family members away from them. And they have all these campers that they want to put you into and quarantine you from your family. Like, it sounds like something, it sounds like a bad AMC show. It
Right.
sounds like, how could you, and I'm not one for conspiracy theories or any of that type of stuff, but it's just like things are heating up to the point where I definitely can see them doing that. I can definitely see people that don't like the old normal to do this.
Yeah. Well, it's also
It's
like
just,
with the chip that Bill Gates is trying to develop as well. Yeah, the
yep,
chip. Um,
that's a part of the vaccine, apparently.
yeah, exactly. With
Yeah,
the revelation describing as each person will be numbered. Um,
no man will be able to buy or sell
yeah,
without it.
yeah,
So they won't let you into stores if you don't have it. They won't
right.
let you like, oh, sorry, you can't do this and that. Then they're gonna try to get rid of money, and then it'll be a cashless society. So then they can track your spending on your chip or your card or whatever, and be like, oh, I'm sorry, you bought 2 rolls of toilet paper this
Mhm.
month. That's enough for you. Like it's heating up. It is really heating up,
Yeah.
and it's like most of me just wants to go like this. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to like,
Uh-huh.
no, 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 no. Bring me back the good
Yeah.
times. Like I don't want to.
Yeah.
But it's rapidly approaching, and it's like it's crazy. It really is.
It is. I'm I'm not excited. I was having a very hopeless, depressed night last night. Um, griping about having to be at work, having to be out of my home, my comfort zone, having to be working for my money right now. I know that sounds
Yeah,
strange,
I know
but
what you mean.
I was making double on unemployment when I am in the kitchen, and I saw that as an immediate opportunity to like propel myself 6 months. You know what I'm saying? If I am getting
Hmm.
$700 a week for, let's say, April till July, which is when that grant will continue, I only got it from beginning of April to end of April. Imagine if that continued for me. By July, where would I be? I would be in a beautiful spot, and I don't get to do that, and I'm very greedy and disappointed that I don't get to. But we are closing in on an hour, and hold on 1 second.
You closing in an hour?
We're closing in on an hour.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Closing it. Yeah. So we've been talking for about an hour, and I'm trying to keep them each to an hour each. And Jonathan Garlinghouse is my next person that I will be interviewing. Right after this, like at 7:30 my time, so 10:30 your time. I'll be um, calling calling Jonathan Garlinghouse, and I'm really, you are my 16th episode, and he will be my 17th. So I
Cool.
again am using this format to reconnect with my friends, and it'll be, this will be crazy to look back on in a few years and be like, you know, that was the first time I had really spoken to Jalon in like 4 years. So I couldn't be more honored to borrow an hour of your time, as well as catch this conversation on film. So I love you, dude, and I wish you so much luck in coming out of the coronavirus with things to hop onto project wise.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I would get in trouble with Tristan if I didn't ask you, are you interviewing Adam Fay?
Adam, I
Is he still
I
here? Is he still
haven't
with
even
us? Is he
thought.
still in this dimension?
I haven't thought of Adam Faye. I almost didn't recognize that name at all. But then all those inside jokes we had about Adam Faye. Wow, dude, that is so funny.
Now, I would be impressed if you found him and interviewed him. I'd be like,
Dude.
yo, Colin went to Mars to find this dude. That's crazy.
I should reach out. That is so funny, dude. All right, I'll let you go, but please send me any of your work that you want promoted. Any profiles on Spotify or albums, as you mentioned. Yeah, give it all to me.
I sure will, man.
Sweet.
It's great to see you.
Really good.
I'm thankful for this time.
Yeah, me too, dude. You're.
We'll have to chat more outside of your show.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, let's not let another 4 years pass. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still a potential. You're still a potential collaborator to me. 100%.
Oh yeah, I think it'd be the same.
Yeah,
for sure.
We just gotta find the click, and we're both building a financial backing right now individually that hopefully will allow for a bridge to be met, because I don't want you to stay in Ohio for too much longer. I want to see you move to a place that music is the language of that city. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I desire for you. I really do. So
thanks, man.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
For sure.
Yeah. Another thing I want to do though is, like, since Ohio is kind of dry with that, while I do want to branch out and do that, and where music is the language and film is the language and all that, I want to create a hub for people like me who feel like there is no hope, who can't go to Compass or can't get out of their situation. I want to make that place here. That's the one thing. Everybody compares me to Tyler Perry because I'm black and I want to do films and stuff, but that's the one thing I will take from him, is to make a place for people, other creative types, to join together. So
doesn't matter who the haters are, because Tyler Perry gets a lot of that. I respect Tyler Perry Studios. Tyler Perry Studios. He has so much going on, and I give him all the praise. And I'm 30 minutes into Kevin Hart's Joe Rogan podcast, which they just released today, and it's so inspiring. Kevin Hart and the shit he has going on is really, really inspiring to me, and I felt amped up. I felt like I drank a Monster just watching what I've watched so far with that podcast episode. I cannot be more excited for me and my peers to create and to grow and to collaborate in the future, because I'm not going to stay in Salem for that much longer either. This is just like a little bit of a reset button, build my portfolio that is mine and not my school's. This is mine. So lift off, definitely. I'm going to stop the recording.